Hello guys, Brotherhood member Mars here, giving you an online commentary for a 2v2 31k battle on Rome Soldiers War. Here is myself, Brotherhood member Mars, also gone under the name of Valtrith. This used to be my name before I joined Brotherhood, and this happened to be one of the battles I happened to save before I joined Brotherhood. I brought the Julii faction, and I brought 6 Praetorian Cavalry gold. So these are your standard bulk cavalry. And I've brought 13 urban cohorts and 1 legionary first cohort as my general. I've done this so I can provide more boost in morale to my troops, and I don't plan on using this general too much in combat because their specifications are really not that good against any sort of Roman or pikemen. So it's best to keep these guys out of battles and to keep them back for morale. Because of the armies that we're facing, I haven't decided to pick a lot of tireless shields. I've only gone with 3, and this is so I can buffer the enemy before they get into my main battle lines. I've got 3 deep rows of 4 infantry, and I've got 2 in the side, and I put my general near my ally. My ally is RTW player Resident Evil Ghost, who has brought the Greek city-states. He's brought rank 4 General's Bodyguard, and they seem to have full upgrades on them. Because these guys are fast-moving, they're excellent against taking out archers and harassing the enemy. There's very few people I've seen who can really do good with these General's Bodyguard unit, but if used correctly, they can really anger the enemy. And from experience, I can tell you that it really annoys you to see some of these units on the battlefield. So Resident Evil Ghost has brought what looks to be 5 or 6 Cretan archers and 9 or 10 Spartan hoplites. I see he's put gold on those Spartan hoplites, and he's put his general in the front of his army instead of in the back. Not sure why he did this, but Spartans are very resistant and tough, so even if the general puts himself into harm's way, he is very, very strong because he's got those groups of Spartans with him who are ready to fight to the death with him. As you can see, he's brought 1 peasant unit. This is often so they can soak up missile fire, and not really used for very much except for maybe filling in some space or adding some additional troops and soaking up any sort of projectile fire. These guys are really good at soaking up projectiles like any other unit. So it's a very good choice of unit. So we're facing RTW player Sergeant Morningwood. I haven't seen this guy in a while, but a few years back he used to be playing a lot. He's bought the Seleucid Empire. He's got 6 cataphracts. These guys are known as the tanks of the ancient world because of their insane amount of armor, their maces, and their valor. These guys were feared all among the battlefield, and these guys are some legendary troops. Historically, they were used mostly by Eastern factions, such as the Parthians and the Seleucids, and let's see how he uses them during the course of the battle. There's one thing about Seleucid, cataphracts in general, to be honest, is that they have such high armor specifications, and they have a mace as our alt attack. So this means that they can pierce through armor, and against cavalry and infantry, these guys can cause lots and lots of trouble. I see he's put his general in one of his cataphract units. It's a good idea, but sometimes on a charge, these generals can die very, very quickly, so it's best to be careful of that. But cataphracts are really resistant, so I got no complaints with that. About 6 of them with 2 upgrade chevrons. These guys are some deadly cavalry. He's brought some Silver Shield pikemen. Silver Shield pikemen are decent pikemen. I mean, in campaign they're pretty expensive in upkeep, but other than that, these guys are decent pikemen. I mean, they're better than bronze shields, but they're worse than royal pikemen. I put 2 pilot shield units to absorb my pila, and he's got two ranks of silver shield. I see he didn't put any sort of crack, but I'm guessing that's all part of his plan, because once Romans start to fill into the cracks, these guys can fill in and then take out the Romans, I guess. And IoW-Spider, many of you would know this RTW player. He's got the Macedon faction. He's got 1 big pilot shield unit. Well, actually he has 2, because I'm guessing that he split his armies up. So he's got 2 pilot shield units, and he seems to have brought 14 royal pikemen. These guys have excellent defense specifications, and their long spears make it so it's very difficult to reach the person at the end of the spear. So you'll have to fight through the long spears first in order to get to the man behind the spear. He put his general, what looks to be in the mid of his army. This is so he could provide extra morale boost. Also, he's put a few upgrades on his general and the units in the back. I'm guessing those are his elite reserves. Okay, so he's brought 3 Cretan archers. Cretan archers are some of the best archers in the game, and it's a good thing he brought some of those. We bring a Greek faction such as Macedon or the Greek city-states. You can't go without bringing some Cretan archers. And he's brought some gold companion cavalry. These guys are some of the best cavalry on charge, and there's a reason why Alexander took over all of the Persian Empire, because he had the famous companion cavalry with them. Their charge is unbelievable, and if used properly, they can really cause some heavy damage onto the enemy. So those are the players. I hope you enjoy it. Let's see what happens. Alright, so it seems like the Pike team, I'll call him Pike team for now, seems like Spider is being extremely aggressive, and he's marching towards the Greek city-states. Good tactic, because he knows that Seleucid pikes are really no match for these Spartan hoplites. So he's probably gonna... I see Sergeant Morningwood's moved as well. I'm guessing what they're probably going to do is they're going to try and outflank the Greek city-states, because since they don't have very much infantry, they could probably force their way through, and maybe they could take me out later. Alright, so I'm moving my army, and my ally is staying behind me very carefully, and he's marching his peasant unit up. Alright, so I'm going to move, and I'm going to try and outflank them right here. One of the biggest things you could do to try and hinder the any sort of pike faction is to outflank them. But you're going to have to be careful and make sure that there's no cavalry or other infantry hiding, because that may spell out disaster for you when you're flanking, and you may end up isolated. So I'm bringing my cavalry over. I sent 1 cavalry detachment to take out one of those archers, because I don't want them firing at my cavalry, because they're in range. So I'm turned and faced to IoW-Spider. He's realized that if he moves any longer, then he'll be in a precarious situation. Alright, so he knows that skirmishing with me isn't going to yield very much, so he immediately rushes me in. Alright, so I've placed my pilot shield units as in guard formation. This makes sure that these long pikes can't really get through me very easily. Alright, so the Greek cities are moving up. They're going to try and outflank them. And these guys cannot be killed with cavalry, because they got these hoplite spears as well. And they're just mowing away through these sides. Alright, so I noticed that the cataphracts are moving. I want to try and take those out as soon as possible. So I detached 3 urban cohorts and I've sent them out. What I'm hoping is that Sergeant Morningwood or IoW-Spider would maybe attack one of these urban cohorts, and I've put them up into a column right here, so I can try and lure some of these cavalry in. I put my guys into wedge formation. My cavalry is getting really shot. I did not notice it during the battle. Okay, so I'm going to move my infantry back. Because getting shot. Alright, so these Cretan archers are firing away. Alright, so the good move here is that because I engaged first and I made sure that these guys were placed in position, the Greek cities are now able to munch away at the Macedonians as much as possible. Alright, so Greek cities player Resident Evil Ghost is also attacking the Seleucids. Even if the Seleucids have more men, they will stand no match because they're really not enough to counter the Greek cities. Alright, so as you notice that Resident Evil has brought one pikeman over, and I've distracted IoW-Spider by placing one of my infantry to fight one of the pikes. Even though I know it's futile, I want to try and take out those cataphracts. Right, so Sergeant Morningwood has isolated himself a bit. He wants to try and be as far away from the battle as possible, so when my guys are engaged and my cavalry is maybe dented or when I don't expect it, he could come in and kill me. So I've sort of noticed this, and I've charged straight into his infantry. Notice that Resident Evil Ghost has brought he was General's bodyguard, and I brought two of my urban cohorts. Right, so I've charged straight in. My charge is extremely good on that one. Didn't expect it to be that way, and I seem to be winning the battle, even though my enemy has the feared maces. See, he's got the maces out. Alright, so my infantry's come over, and now the tide of the battle has been tipped. Spider is way too far away to help out his teammate. Alright, so the general seems to have gotten stuck, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to pull my cavalry back so I can try and do more outflanking motions. Alright, I'm also going to pull my infantry back. But if you notice, this is Resident Evil, I think gets a bit too isolated. So after that scuffle with the Seleucid cavalry, I think he's gone a bit too far. He should have pulled back. Now he's a bit isolated. And really, General's bodyguards, even though it says that they're going to win, they really stand no chance against the Seleucid cataphracts. So as you can see, all the generals have routed. So I'm running my infantry back, even though they're winning. I formed a bit of a wall right here. Yeah, I formed a bit of a wall because I'm kind of scared of that those cataphracts.
Our allies have lost their leader. This turn of events may make them lose heart.
All right, so because the general was up front and he was a bit isolated from me, IoW-Spider was able to detach one of his pikemen, and they were able to kill him from the back. There's just a lot going on in this battle, and I'm sorry if I can't really film everything. I'll try and do my analysis as best as I can. Pretty good tactic with pikes are to outflank them and to try and kill them from the back with phalanx mode on. As you can see, there's piles of dead Spartans. Even though these guys are some of the best troops in RTW, they can be killed with phalanxes from the back. Alright, so IoW-Spider's tried a flanking motion, but it seems to have gotten stuck. This often occurs when flanking, you get stuck in spears. Alright, so I brought my cavalry over. I've noticed that Spider's trying to outflank, I'm gonna charge straight into this guy. I don't want him getting close to any of my teammate Spartans. Alright, so some of the cataphracts are now coming in. These Cretans are doing a lot of damage, if you really look at it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my general out. I'm going to run my cavalry over. I'm going to try and prevent my allies' archers from dying. So because the Seleucid morale is really bad and most of these cataphracts are really tired, they're going to pull back. So I'm trying to charge in. But if you notice, there's 2 cataphracts coming in here and there's 3 over there. So if I go too far, I'm going to end up like Resident Evil Ghost, and I'm going to be isolated and I'm going to get killed. Alright, so I've also detached 2 of my other cavalry to try and distract Spider's cavalry so they don't try and do more outflanking motions. Alright, so I've charged my cavalry into my remaining cavalry into the Seleucid cataphracts. However, I'm unable to stop them all, and they're able to mow away some of these Cretans. Resident Evil Ghost is using some of his remaining Spartan hoplites, and he's trying to slow down the cataphract advance. Alright, so after a fierce fight by these Spartans, it seems like most of them have perished. Maybe 1 or 2 units are still remaining, but most of them have gone. But they have dented the Seleucid and Macedonian morale severely. Alright, so IoW-Spider's good usage of his cavalry. He's taken out that supporting unit I had brought to support the Spartans. Alright, so if you notice that most of my troops are fresh in comparison to some of these pikes. This one's winded. And this one's tired. One of Sergeant Morningwood's pikes are tired. So in guard mode, Romans can guard their positions while staying fresh. I would have gone Testudo, but this battle was a long time ago, and I really did not know very much about the Testudo, but it's still very good. Alright, so the Seleucid cataphracts are mowing away. Alright, so if you notice, historically, the Romans, they used to switch battle lines whenever one was tired, or whenever one had used all of their projectiles. So I'm doing a similar tactic to that. So Roman pilots are extremely effective against these long pikes. And what I'm constantly doing is I'm switching out one line and I'm replacing it with another so I can keep doing pilot volleys. I've been doing this for the remainder of the battle, trying to wear down the enemy. Because pikes, at full strength, nothing can stop them. But pikes, you must slowly wear down before you can fight them, if you have any means to stop them. Or you could bring other pikemen and try doing outflanking motions or hit them from the back. But the thing is that I can't hit them from the back because there's way too many spears, and on top of that, my cavalry is damaged. This one has 38, this one has 33, and there are still these Seleucid cavalry, so I'm at a bit of a disadvantage here. Alright, so I've noticed that the Seleucid cavalry are right there, and they're going to charge straight into those Cretans. Those Cretans are very, very valuable. So I'm going to charge straight in there. Although all the Cretan archers have been routed, this charge is enormous, and it will probably rout the remaining Seleucid cavalry. Alright, so Spider's noticed this. He's bringing all of his cavalry. He's brought one pikeman, so you can try and deter my cavalry charge. I'm gonna charge straight in there. I want to get him stuck so I can try and charge straight in. Alright, so he's pulled out, and I'm pulling out. At this point, any sort of engagement would really mean a lot of casualties, so we're both gonna pull out. Not too sure why, but I think I was really distracted on the fighting during this battle. Hard close-up battle. I just left my unit there. Alright, so the Spartans are really killing off these pikemen units. Alright, so some of the units have rallied back and they're firing at the troops. Cretans have a lot of ammo. Alright, so I've placed one urban cohort unit right here. I've noticed that everyone's bringing units on this side, trying to do an outflanking motion or take out the last remaining Spartans. The Spartans are very resistant, and it takes a lot of effort to kill these guys. Alright, so Spider's done an outflanking motion, and I'm going to come in straight with my urban cohorts. I'm going to try to support my ally right here. I don't want to put too much emphasis on the flanks because, one, there is a lot of pikes and their cavalry outnumbers ours. And my cavalry is tired, while IoW-Spider's is winded and his is very tired. So their cavalry outmatches, and on top of that, it outnumbers us. So I must be very careful. Right, so Resident Evil has brought back some of the Spartans. You know, this is in a pretty precarious situation. There's a lot of casualties. Alright, so Resident Evil Ghost, my ally, has brought some of his remnant troops over. Alright, so I've peeled off another urban cohort unit because they're bringing more and more royal pikes over, and I've stretched my lines out. At this stage I can stretch my lines out because there's really no chance of outflanking motion, and hard hand-to-hand combat isn't really bound to happen anytime soon. If you see, because of guard mode, my troops are able to stay relatively fresh. And if you notice that most of these troops are either exhausted, winded, or tired. And I could kill them at any moment, but the thing is that if I engage my troops from the front, then I'll be killed, and I have no means of outflanking. There's no possible chance I can try and outflank. Alright, so because my guys are tired and winded, I'm going to walk my troops over. This isn't really a good idea because those Cretans are firing at me in tight formation. Alright, so I'm gonna try and engage from this side. Okay, so Spider has IoW-Spider has detached one of his companion cavalry. I'm going to detach one of my cavalry in response because there's still the Seleucid cavalry. As you can see, he's on a hammer and anvil strike. I'm gonna countercharge and I'm gonna aim straight from the back. Even though I have caught him, the thing is that caused a lot of casualties, and because I'm running after him, one of my cavalry have just routed. And with my other cavalry, I didn't really notice this during the replay and during the battle, but I forgot all about that unit, and it seemed to have run into the pikes. So that was a really bad micromanagement on my part. That was the unnecessary wastage of cavalry. Alright, so one of my units have just routed again. Oh shoot, they've done another hammer and anvil strike. With five cavalry, they were able to rout a 56-41 man unit. It shows how powerful these cavalry are. Alright, so Resident Evil Ghost is going to engage these Seleucid pikemen. Alright, so I believe these guys are going to win because they're winded and very tired in comparison to these winded Spartans. Alright, so I believe these Cretans have run out of their arrows because they're holding on to their swords. put them behind my infantry to try and support them in the last ditch effort. Alright, so IoW-Spider has been over his Cretan archers. I'm gonna attempt a flanking motion. I'm gonna bring my cavalry over. So I've noticed that all the cavalry have immobilized on this side. At this stage, he's just wearing down the enemy and it's fighting. Alright, so the Macedon general is really pushing forward. They're really aggressively. Alright, as you can see, these archers have started to reload and fire at the backs of my men. This is not good because, as you can see, they're panicked by fire attacks. So this means that they were attacked by fire arrows. See this urban right here? Because of those fire shots in the back, this not only causes a morale penalty in my troops, and it burns my urban cohort so I can't even distinguish the graves at the end, but it kills my troops from the back. And after that, it causes a morale penalty, and I can't even distinguish my corpses anymore. How am I supposed to take them back home? So, yeah. So I've detached 2 of my cavalry. It's not like I'm going to be using it very much. I'm going to sacrifice this cavalry so I can try and use it as bait. Alright, so I'm going to lose my cavalry, unfortunately. But I'm going to pull my cavalry back because I see this, and he's put in some of those Cretans into combat. So I'm gonna peel off one of my infantry. And unfortunately they get stuck. I don't know what to say about this. So some of my cavalry is in here, and it seems like the Seleucid had enough of the battle, and they decided to run back home. Alright, so after sacrificing those Cretan archers, I've decided that the only way to take out these guys is to form a box around my makeshift box around my infantry. So no sort of cavalry attack can penetrate my lines while I'm fighting, as you saw a few minutes earlier. Alright, so I'm gonna charge from the back of these guys. Alright, so if you see, I've done a bit of a hammer and anvil strike. Although the charge was weak, I'm not really expecting damage in this one. If you see right here, IoW-Spider has brought some of his companion cavalry to charge me from the back. What I've noticed in battles recently is that any sort of unit that routs automatically causes some sort of morale bonus in the other troops as well. So if I could get these guys to rout, because they're so battle damaged, if I can get them to rout, maybe I can cause a train rout within the Macedonian-Seleucid ranks. Alright, so I'm gonna charge that flank unit straight in there. I don't have to worry about cavalry attacks because all the cavalry is stuck in one position. Alright, so because of this sudden movement, the pikes are really not ready for a flanking motion. I'm going to rout one instantly. And these guys are on attack mode. Alright, so what I didn't notice was Resident Evil was using his general's bodyguard to take out the rest of those Cretans over there. It seems like Spider has routed some of those peasant units. Alright, so because I flanked them and they're so exhausted and tired, these guys are routing instantly. I put my guys onto attack mode, and these guys are mowing away through the pikemen. Yeah, one thing about these long pike factions is that if you can create that impenetrable fortress of pikes, as you can see right here, and form your defensive line without any sort of troops outflanking, as you can see here, then pikes can be truly invincible. And there's a reason why pikes dominated the battlefield for such a long time because people were able to defend insanely well. Alright, so IoW-Spiders try to outflank me, but because I created that makeshift box, it was able to protect my troops from the back. Alright, so those side troops are mowing away constantly, and any sort of outflanking motion will just kill these troops instantly. Alright, so IoW-Spider and Sergeant Morningwood
could not have been in more doubt, and yet the gods finally smiled on your efforts.
Alright, so IoW-Spider and Sergeant Morningwood surrendered after that. Kind of expected to surrender after that because one by one his troops were routing, and I still had plenty of urbans left. It was a very, very close victory, and I thought one way or another that we were going to lose. Sergeant Morningwood played really well. IoW-Spider played really well. Both of them had excellent use of cavalry. Cataphracts aren't really used for harassing the enemy too much, but he really caused a lot of trouble for me and my ally, especially my ally who lost most of his Cretan archers in a Seleucid charge, and that poor peasant unit was decimated at the end. And he also took out the Greek city general, so that's a win-win for him. IoW-Spider played extremely well. He led most of this attack, and his usage of those companion cavalry was excellent. He was really a thorn in the backside, as many would say. So good game to myself, good game to my partner Resident Evil Ghost, and good game to IoW-Spider and Sergeant Morningwood. Alright, so strangely, out of all of this, it was my infantry that got most of the kills. Kind of expected when you're playing against pikes, to be honest. Wow, barely any of my men have any survivors. Alright, so good battle to all, and I hope you enjoyed it, and see you again later. Bye.